The day I filed the papers, my mother was still calling every hour, demanding, pleading, commanding. I let the phone ring until it died. When the silence finally settled, it felt heavier than her voice ever did. I stood in the kitchen of my apartment, and signed my name for the last time. Divorce papers, but not from a lover, from them. They just didn't know it yet. People always assumed my parents were saints, the tight family. That's what control looks like when it wears pearls and tailored suits. I used to think obedience was love, that curfews and curtness were care. I mistook ownership for protection. They planned everything: my friends, my school, my career, even the man I almost married. I was a project, not a person. A puppet with perfect posture. When I moved out for college, I thought I'd escaped. But control doesn't always come through shouting. Sometimes it comes through money. They paid for my tuition, my car, my rent, and in return, they owned every decision I made. "You owe us," my father would say, smiling, always smiling. "We're just helping you make good choices." I thought I could handle it. I thought I was free. Until the day I caught my mother reading my messages. Not metaphorically, literally. She'd called the landlord, pretended to be me, and gotten a copy of my keys. I found her in my apartment one Sunday, rearranging the mail, sipping tea like she belonged there. She said she was worried, said she'd found a few concerning messages. Messages between me and a recruiter from another city. A job offer I hadn't told them about yet. That was the moment I realized they didn't want me safe, they wanted me contained. I didn't shout, I didn't cry. I watched, and I started planning. The next morning I called my bank. Every account with their fingerprints on it, I closed. I sold the car they'd bought me, told them it was stolen. Filed a police report for good measure. I paid off my debts with the cash, opened a new account under a new address, a P.O. box 2 towns over. Then came the lockbox, a literal one, small, unassuming, stainless steel. Inside I kept every document I'd ever signed at their urging, loan agreements, college forms, co-signed leases. I spent nights combing through fine print, finding all the ways they'd tied themselves to my life. I started cutting strings, one by one. It took months, quiet months. I let them believe I was crumbling, answered their calls with soft apologies. "You were right, Mom. I'll think about it, Dad." I made them comfortable again. Let them relax. They didn't know I'd already transferred my degree records, changed my legal address, and built a new credit file. They thought they still owned me. The final act came quietly. I invited them to dinner, neutral ground, a nice restaurant they liked. My mother arrived wearing control like perfume. My father ordered for me before I even sat down. I smiled, let him. When the plates were cleared, I slid an envelope across the table. My father frowned. My mother reached first. Inside was a notarized letter, a declaration of emancipation, not for a minor, but for an adult cutting legal and financial ties. I'd had it drafted by a lawyer, simple, binding, final. And beneath it, copies of every document they'd co-signed, each marked terminated. "You can't just," my mother started. "I already did," I said. My father's face tightened, a muscle twitching near his jaw. He looked smaller than I'd ever seen him. "You're being dramatic." I leaned in. "You broke into my home." He froze. She blinked. "I filed a report," I continued, calm, controlled. "Didn't press charges. Yet. But if you contact my employer, my landlord, or my bank again, I will." Silence stretched between us, the kind that hums before a storm. My mother's hand trembled. My father's voice dropped to a whisper. "We did everything for you." "I know," I said. "That's the problem." They never came to that restaurant again. A month later, I moved across the state. New number, new job, new life. The lockbox stayed with me, empty now, but I keep it anyway. A reminder that freedom isn't given, it's taken. They still send cards sometimes. No return address, just handwriting I know too well. I don't open them, because the truth is, the most extreme measure I ever took wasn't cutting them off. It was learning to stop explaining myself. Control only works if you need permission, and I stopped asking.